cult members on the far right are trying to apply their cult values to real society. This story's crazy. Stick around. I'll talk about it after I read this. Bivocational pastor, real estate agent, reinstated after $5,000 fine for hateful comments on an LGBT-themed coloring book. After more than 3 years of legal disputes, Montana Real Estate Association has reinstated a bivocational pastor after disciplining him over comments he made about an LGBT-themed coloring book for children. The Missoula Organization of Realtors agreed to rescind disciplinary actions against Pastor Brandon Huber after fining him $5,000 and limiting his access to critical real estate resources in 2022. Huber, who worked as a retailer to support the ministry, announced in June 2020 on social media that his church, Clinton Community Bible Church in Clinton, Montana, would no longer partner with a local food bank after it began distributing children's lunches that included a coloring book page of LGBT content. A child's coloring book is what triggers these people. Following ethics complaints alleging hate speech and concerns that Huber's religious views might lead to bias against the LGBT community in real estate transactions, they deemed Huber's religious speech hateful and harassing and found it to be in violation of the National Association of Realtors Code of Ethics. So they imposed the $5,000 fine and revoked his access to multiple listing services for real estate. They also required mandatory diversity training, which he refused to participate in. So this guy was just reinstated. They canceled the $5,000 fine against him. They waived his membership dues through 2027. And he is now in good standing after his reinstatement and working in real estate again. So this man applied his cult values to real society, and he got away with it. So this is a failed situation, and it's really important to talk about. In America, we have a separation of church and state. At least that's what the law says. But currently, our government's being controlled by one of the cult leaders, Donald Trump. So this man was allowed to continue in real estate after forcing his cult views onto people around him. And this is exactly the type of testicle coddling that we need to break away from. I refuse to walk on eggshells around delusional cult members. This man refused required diversity training on the subject, so he chose to stay ignorant and use hate speech to hurt other people in his own community. And now we're supposed to coddle his balls and pretend he has a valid viewpoint. This is an example of someone who's choosing to stay ignorant because of religious indoctrination, and this is highly dangerous behavior. It's widespread in America. We cannot continue to coddle white men's balls who are choosing to stay ignorant. He denied education on this subject, which is exactly what was necessary here. So because these cult members won't recognize truth, reality, or evidence, we're supposed to hold their hand, coddle their balls, and continue to allow them to believe things that are false. Fuck that. We also need to talk about what his misinformed opinions do to LGBT people. Because he was given permission to continue, his viewpoint has been validated. So now he's going to continue to oppress, alienate, and discriminate against the LGBT people around him. And that behavior is not only against the law, but it violates human ethics. And why is it that every single one of these stories, it's a white man refusing to be educated? And that in turn infects the entire community around him. So no, I refuse to coddle someone's balls who's ethically wrong and refuses hard data, evidence, information, and education. This is a white supremacy sickness, a mental illness. Indoctrination in these people is so strong that they deny any sort of outside information. And that is a cult value. That's how cults work. This denial of science and reality is a troubling sickness. These people are living in a delusional world while the rest of us are living in reality. The behavior he exhibits is dangerous to LGBT people. To immediately ban something because you don't know anything about it, that's cult behavior. And that type of guidance allows parents of LGBT children to kick their children out of their families and out of their homes permanently. Kick them out on the street. Just the same way he did for this one page in a coloring book. This behavior forces children on the right to go through conversion therapy. It's a dangerous, abusive, trauma-inducing practice that's not approved by any major medical association. It also results in even higher suicide rates in LGBT people because it doesn't fucking work. And this is all because people want to force their religion onto everyone around them. 40% of Gen Z and 40% of millennials are not religious at all. So we're all looking at these cults from the outside in. We can help people who can escape these cults. And we're seeing this happening with MAGA and Turning Point currently. People are realizing they are in a cult. And if they choose to learn things from outside of the cult information they're supplied, they wake up from the cult. 40% of our homeless population is LGBT. This is according to the National Coalition for the Homeless. 50% of homeless children are LGBT. The National LGBTQ Task Force found the main reason for engaging in survival sex for homeless youth was simply to have a bed to sleep in. LGBTQ youth, once they are homeless, are at higher risk for victimization, mental health problems, and unsafe sex. 58.7% of LGBTQ homeless youth have been sexually victimized. Only 33% of heterosexual homeless youth have experienced that. So LGBTQ youth are 7.5 times more likely to experience sexual violence in homelessness. And also, LGBTQ homeless youth attempt suicides, 62% of them. And heterosexual homeless youth is only 29%. So it's over double. And for the Republican Party, who claims to be a party that's pro-life, pro-family, pro-children, they're reproducing and throwing their own children out onto the street, never to be seen again. I can't even stress how many LGBT people I know that experienced this. I have experienced this with my own father. We haven't spoken in 20 years. The Republican Party is currently taking away all rights for trans children, using the bathroom, playing sports, healthcare, even changing your gender on your documents. This is all in the name of cults, religious cults on the far right. This type of shit doesn't exist on the left. So thank you for listening. Please like this, Share this, get this information out there. Leave your comments, and I'll be back soon. Bye, guys.